Does this game with Southern Cal, you guys have played now a few times with stuff on the line. So is this becoming or can it become the kind of rivalry that like you've had in the past with Tennessee or South Carolina or Notre Dame, where you guys are kind of playing usually with something on the line?
Oh, excuse me. Um, I don't know. We obviously had them last year at our place during the regular season, and then twice now in the NCAA tournament. Um, I think time will tell. I don't know that we have anything um, in the works right now beyond this particular season. So. Uh, if they weren't so far away, where you come all the way out here for one game, maybe it would be a little bit easier. I don't know, but I mean, certainly um, they're getting some of the best players in the country to go to school there. So I'm glad we're playing them anyway, and I'm sure we'll see them in the NCAA tournament. I'm sure.
Yeah, and just on another front with Jazzy, what you're seeing with her? What's your take on what you've seen there?
It's kind of like they haven't missed that much. Juju being out, and then you get a freshman that comes in and um, kind of leads them in just about everything. And um, again, it's kind of like what I thought about Sarah. Last year, you know, they're going to be good. She's going to have a big impact. You just don't know at what point. But she really has stamped herself, um, on that team, and she's probably the best freshman in the country at this point, based on what has happened on the court, not the hype part. So I think she's everything that she was advertised to be.
Yeah, thanks, Gino.
Yep.
Daniel?
What do you remember about Sarah's response last year to missing the free throws at the end of the regular season game with USC? And do you think it's helped her grow or learn or become?
What's that? What was the last part?
Sorry, I'm in bad service. Do you think the missed free throws from Sarah helped her become a better player?
I don't know if it helped her become a better player. I mean, um, I don't think missing free throws your freshman year in a big game like that necessarily changes who you are physically. I think her reaction was she was very disappointed. Um, she was. Uh, I think she took it hard because she hates to lose, and she felt like she had an opportunity there, and um, for her to be in that situation for the first time. Um, I remember saying to you all after the game, I said, I hope she's in that situation 10 more times this year because she'll make them every time. Um, so I don't know that it made her a better player. It certainly, um, I think, uh, showed a side of her that you don't know it's there yet because she's not been in that situation. So um, I think I think a couple months later everything turned out all right though.
Eric?
Are you happy couple months into this now?
kind of with where the team is at? Is this the progress where you'd hope you'd be? Obviously, you're 9-0, but a couple months into it, are you, when you look back at the 9 games, you're kind of happy with the way this team has progressed? Is this what you expected at this point?
I believe so. Um, you know, you want to go out and you want to win every game you play, obviously, but you want to get better each game that you play, and I think we have. Um, we've improved from from the Louisville game. Um, we're starting to get a little bit of a identity, of a sense of who we are and what our games look like. Um, there hasn't been a lot of highs and lows. We've been pretty consistent, I think. Um, so, yeah, going into this week, we go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday coming up. I think we'll know even more. But I think up to this point, yeah, I feel pretty good about what we've accomplished and where we are.
Do you like the schedule the way it is? I mean, there's no big break over the holidays. You guys are busy, as you just said. You got a lot of games, so there's not really a break for the kids.
Well, we have we're off from the 20th. We play the 20th, and then they have 4 days. Uh, and we kind of play earlier than we have been. I think we play the 28th, maybe, something like that, which is kind of early relative to some other years. Um, but nah, it's kind of like this most years. You have to cram a lot of games into a short period of time. Um, especially um, and especially with you got exams going on, you got the holidays coming up, so it catches up. But you know, I like it that way. I'd rather be doing that than just practicing.
Carl.
How much harder is it to schedule non-conference since the last conference realignment? It'd be one thing if USC would just make a trip east and play a game or two, but they're coming east probably 2 or 3 times. Same with UCLA, same with Stanford or any of the old Pac-12 teams you might want to play. So are they more reluctant to travel, do you find, or how have you found it these last couple of years?
Yeah, it certainly has changed. Most times you would get somebody to come out here and play 2 games. Um, but now they have to come out here not just to play 2 games, let's say us and someone else, but they've got to also come out, and play at Maryland, play at Rutgers. And um, I don't know that they are necessarily excited about playing us and a conference game, on the same trip. They'd probably rather play 2 conference games, which they normally do when they do travel. And I don't know that they're willing to add a third game. So it has brought up some challenges that didn't exist in the past, yes. Um, and you know, the whole uh, you know, the whole realignment thing, I think, has really uh, made it difficult for home and homes. You might be able to get like these neutral court games where you play once, but in terms of home and homes, it's gotten tougher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry if I don't say this correctly, but Nafsirat.
Hey there. No worries. Sarah from The Ringer. So I had 2 questions about Sarah. The first one, you mentioned that she hates to lose, and it seems like this year we're seeing her be a little bit more expressive on the court about that than she was last year. I'm curious if that's something you've also seen in practices and off the court.
Yeah, Yeah, it's it's a growth thing, you know. I think she is quiet by nature in the public eye. Um, Privately, she's not quiet around her teammates. She's not quiet at all. But the public side of Sarah is very quiet, very reserved. But there is more. There's a more expressive way that she's playing right now. There's more of a free flowing kind of way. When you come in to a place like UConn, you want to maybe just kind of feel your way. And I think she's done that. And the success that she had last year, I think, has given her the confidence to just kind of be little by little, I think, take some of that off the court, fun stuff and emotional stuff and carry it onto the court.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the second one is, I know you probably don't want to give too much away about this, but uh, if you didn't end up recruiting her, how would you have game planned against her?
Um, well, I think it's hard. It's hard to prepare for someone like that. Um, so I really, wouldn't have an answer. Sometimes with kids like that, you just have to limit how much damage they can do. Um, because I think it's hard to keep them from doing what they want to do, um, simply because they can. A lot of players have weak spots. They struggle with certain parts of the floor, or you know, certain certain situations that you put them in. The difficulty with playing against Sarah is hard to find what those are, because she's just so comfortable in everything that she does. Um, so yeah, I'm glad I don't have to. Um, so even if I were able to figure it out, um, I just kind of keep it to myself.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anthony, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was just waiting. Thanks. Coach, AZ's averaging 18 points a game. Sarah Strong's averaging about 18, and then Blanca has emerged as your third leading scorer at about 9.9, and then you have four players at seven. Are you comfortable with Blanca being your third leading scorer this thus far in the season?
Um, well, if I wasn't comfortable, I'd have to tell her to stop scoring and see if somebody else could do it. But fact of the matter is, um, the people who can score usually end up being, um, you know, at the top of the scoring chain. So it may change. Um, you know, it may change game to game. Who knows? But I don't necessarily worry about who it is that's going to be that other scorer. Maybe there's more than one. So I'm pretty comfortable with where we are right now. Yes.
Okay, thanks. And as a follow-up, you have those four players who are averaging seven. Is there anything that you want more from those four players? You know, Ashlyn, Williams, KK, and Heckle?
Um, I mean, what? Katie Heckle had 16 the other day. So who knows? It comes and goes. Um, a lot of times it's just being efficient with the opportunities that you get. I don't think we're going to have a team where we have 9 guys averaging double figures. I think that would be hard to do.
Thank you.
David.
Hey, Coach, this is David Horowitz from NBC Connecticut. I wanted to ask you about the Michigan game. Looked very dominant in the first half. Second half, they obviously make a run, and you guys come out with a win. How hard is winning in the sense that it can kind of cover up whatever the weakness was that led to that comeback when the expectation for you guys is to win a championship, while also game planning for teams like USC, and then, beating teams by like 70. So how do you keep that at the forefront while also, planning and scouting for one game at a time?
Well, that's what you do. You plan for each game individually. You take what happens in one game and see if it can help you in another game. The first quarter against Michigan, we looked like we were 70 points better than Michigan. The only difference is, the third quarter we only made 2 buckets. So that can happen any time, against a good team. You come out in a quarter and you can't put the ball in the basket, you're going to struggle. And it doesn't matter, who it is or what the situation is. So, all we do is go into every game feeling like this is what we have to do to try to win tonight. And what happened last game isn't going to have any effect on what happens the next game. We don't treat it like that. We can win by 7 or we can win by 70. The next game takes care of itself. So, yeah, I just go into every game trying to win that game. And, you don't win national championships in November. You don't lose them either. So you just play the games and move on.
Thanks, Coach.
Mhm.
All right. Daniel.
The Big East announced today that they're going to have public injury reports available for the men's and women's basketball. Just what are your thoughts on that? And do you think it's going to have an impact for you guys at all?
I don't think so. I mean, if a kid's not playing, they're not playing. I'm not one of these people that, I'm going to hide the fact that so-and-so is not available on Saturday. It's Thursday. She's not playing Saturday, whatever the case may be. So, who knows? But it seems like everything we do is to make sure that all the bettors, all the gamblers in the country, make sure they get what they need. Then we get pissy when, people bet when they're not supposed to. Otherwise, what could be the reason for putting out an injury report?